Hello everyone, sunny greetings from Austria. We are here in Spielberg at the legendary Red Bull Ring. The sun is shining, blue skies again. It feels like summer, who would have thought that? And yeah, we're very excited for day 2. Yesterday already was a fantastic start into the new season. And we've got a championship leader, and that is Thomas Preining, a former DTM champion, and he aced his race yesterday. And of course for him it was a very special day because he is Austrian. He won his home race and he had his family here, all his friends there. We can see him. He's got everything ready to step into the car and to hopefully do a really good qualifying, because obviously once you win, the pressure is on that you win again, because now we've got race day 2 today and we're looking forward to this at this legendary racetrack. So let's do it, let's go qualifying. Here are your commentators.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Yes, good morning everybody. Another sunny, superb day in store here at the Red Bull Ring. Day 2 of the 2026 Championship. Day 1 was very interesting indeed. Qualifying coming up, 20 minutes of it to set the grid for race 2, round 2 of the Championship here at the Red Bull Ring. So the circuit is 4.3 kilometres long, huge climb up from the start-finish line all the way to turn 3, and you get to the top of the hill at turn 3. At turn 4, you begin the descent down through the rest of the lap. 10 corners, clockwise direction. Beautiful setting here in the Styrian Mountains. The history of racing in Austria goes all the way back to the 1950s. The nearby airport at Zeltweg, where they had turned the airfield into a racetrack, a temporary racetrack, had sports car racing, later Formula 2 racing there. Then a permanent venue set up in the 60s. The Osterreichring was a permanent fixture in Grand Prix calendars in the 1980s in particular, and then the circuit was shortened, changed, became the A1 ring, had more Grand Prix for a 5 or 6 year period in the late 1990s, early 2000s, and then was reinvented really as the Red Bull Ring, and this fantastic facility that we now have here in Austria, around about a 2-hour drive from Vienna. And Thomas Preining, the winner of yesterday's race, described it as one of the top 3 days of his life, winning for the second time at his home race at the Red Bull Ring. And it was a 1-2 finish for the Austrian drivers, with Lucas Auer, last year's championship runner-up, coming home in second place. The race finishing under safety car after Kelvin van der Linde's engine stopped on the run-up to turn 3, with less than 2 laps of the race remaining. Maro Engel had started the race on pole position, having set a qualifying record yesterday, but a problem in the pit stop with the left rear cost him about 5 seconds, cost him the chance to get a victory. In the end, he finished 3rd. Jules Gounon very much was in contention for a podium yesterday, but he had a suspension problem which dropped him out of the race late on as well. So Jules Gounon failing to pick up any points in the race yesterday. Behind the top 3 on the track yesterday, we had a very good drive from Bastian Buus, which saw him into 4th place, but he he was under investigation after some contact with Ben Durr on the start of the second lap, coming out of turn 1, when Ben had got a bit wide on the curbs, got a bit out of shape, and at those speeds, the contact between the front of the Porsche, just went into the back of him as he got out of shape, and the McLaren was enough to send the McLaren spearing off into the barriers. Really unfortunate for Ben Durr, who'd qualified a brilliant second. And later, quite a bit later actually, after the race, the stewards looked through everything, and about an hour and a half after the race finished, actually a bit longer than that, I think, a couple of hours after the race finished, Bastian Buus was penalised for the contact with Ben Durr, given a post-race 5-second penalty. The big problem was, everybody was bunched up behind the safety car on that final lap, and adding 5 seconds to his lap time absolutely dropped him down the field like a rock. So Bastian Buus reclassified in 14th place. It meant that overnight, Tom Callender promoted from 5th to 4th, and he didn't have a great pit stop either, Tom Callender, so it was a really good result anyway to be in the top 5. He drove a superb race yesterday, but he's now got his best ever result in the DTM at the start of his second year in the championship, the 17-year-old. Very strong drive for Mercedes-AMG Team Landgraf to come home in 4th place. Marco Wittmann was promoted to 5th. Timo Glock, with his best result by a million miles as a McLaren driver, finished in 6th place. Arjun Maini promoted to 7th. He started 16th on the grid. Matteo Caroli, despite a penalty for a pit stop infringement, was 8th. Ricardo Feller was 9th and Nicky Tim was 10th place yesterday. There have been quite big changes overnight to the balance of performance, which I need to talk you through in a moment. But while the cars head out for what is probably going to be 1 or 2 recce laps before they come back in and let the heat that's been generated through the brakes soak into the tyres and warm the tyres up ready to properly go for it for the last 7 minutes of the session or so, we should introduce ourselves. So good morning from the commentary box overlooking this fantastic pit lane, this fantastic facility directly opposite us on the other side of the circuit where we can see the cars leaving the garages heading down the pit lane. My name's Chris Hartley. Good morning from me and good morning from Brian Oliver.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, everybody. Welcome once again back to the Styrian Mountains. What a day we had yesterday. Apart from the glorious weather, a massive crowd came in to witness GT Masters, GT4, Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Deutschland, the Freck Championship, but of course stealing the headlines, DTM, and what a race that was. As you already mentioned, local driver Thomas Preining, what a popular winner, and how strong does he look? We said this before the season started as we look at the updated points championship, that the drivers who were not changing teams, the drivers that were being consistent this year were going to be very, very strong. Thomas Preining still in the Grello, the former champion, in such a strong position already in this championship.
Yeah, 26 points for Thomas, 25 for the win yesterday. He got a point for qualifying third. The top 3 in qualifying score 3, 2 and 1 bonus points respectively. So Tommy Preining with 26 points, championship leader after round 1 for the 2023 title winner. 20 points for finishing second yesterday for Lukas Sauer. He didn't get any points in quali because he was just outside the top 3 and 4th. Maro Engel qualified on pole. He got 3 points for that and 16 points for finishing third. So Maro third in the championship on 19 points. Tom Callender 4th in the championship, 13 points. Marco Wittmann 11 and Timo Glock with 10 points. Only 3 rookies in the rookie classification this year, who are Tom Callender, Finn Wiebelhaus and Nicola Barth. And Tom Callender, after his excellent result yesterday, 35 points, 29 for Finn Wiebelhaus and 8 for Nicola Barth, who was one of the drivers that suffered a DNF with a car problem yesterday. It was a suspension failure, the team said, on the run up towards turn 2, mid-distance. Mercedes, who got their 15th manufacturer title yesterday, lead the standings in that division as well.
I don't know if we can do anything for that, but there's a really annoying noise coming from my earplugs or from the radio. It's like I have a huge TV.
Radio interference for
okay,
Lukas
Sauer.
Sauer.
Is that constantly there or only when I'm speaking?
No answer. He's got a really annoying voice in his ear. So he's obviously got my commentary coming through for some reason on the radio.
No.
To put him off. Come on, Lukey, drive a bit faster. Come on. So Mercedes 36 points, Porsche 33 after yesterday, and Ford on 16. In terms of the teams championship, 33 points for Landgraf by my maths after yesterday. 30 challenge, 3 points yesterday for Emil Fry Racing. The fastest 3 pit stop teams get 3, 2 and 1 points respectively. And Winwood were the team's champions in the pit stop challenge last year. But Emil Fry Racing yesterday got the 2 fastest pit stops. One of them was 5.9 seconds long. Now, I caught up with the team. I spoke to Thierry Vermeulen about this yesterday, and I caught up with the team again this morning to double check. Emil Fry Racing have got a new pit crew. They've got 2 new pit crews. They've completely mixed things around. And the key thing is Emil Fry Racing have got 2 members of last year's Winwood pit stop crew that have moved across to Emil Fry, which kind of explains why they're suddenly, I mean, they were pretty good last year, but now they're really good at pit stops. So they've got two of the guys that have come from Winwood to Emil Fry. And one of them actually started life at Emil Fry, went to Winwood, and has come back now. And so Emil Fry with 2 excellent pit stops yesterday. Winwood had a bit of a nightmare in the pit stop with Maro Engel, unfortunately. With that sticking left rear, but normally very, very good, as I say, with their pit stops. So that was the big news in terms of pit stops. The big news in terms of balance of performance then, quite a lot of changes overnight, so this is going to be a very different day. Ford, Aston Martin and Ferrari are all lighter than they were. You can have balance of performance weight added to the cars or taken off the cars to try and equalise the performance of these very different cars. You can increase or decrease the amount of power that cars have through either the turbo, if they're turbo powered, or a bigger or smaller air restrictor if they're normally aspirated, change ride heights, all sorts of things that you can do. But the most common ones are changing the power and changing the weight of the cars. So the Fords are 10 kilograms lighter than they were, 20 kilograms lighter than they were yesterday. They've gone from 30 down to 10 kilograms. The Aston Martins are 10 kilograms lighter than they were yesterday. They've gone from 45 kilograms of BOP to 35 kilograms of BOP. And the Ferraris are 10 kilograms lighter than they were yesterday. They've gone from 50 to 40. BMWs are heavier. They've gone from 15 to 25 kilograms, but they've got more boost in the low rev range, although they've got a bit less in the high rev range. So the BMW's heavier, but with more boost in terms of the lower end performance of the engine. The Porsches, I suppose, as you might expect, with Porsche having won yesterday, and on the road at least, a Porsche having finished fourth, with until that post-race disqualification, or not disqualification, penalty for Bastian Boost. So 20 kilograms heavier for the Porsches. And remember that as the winner yesterday in the race, not in qualifying, but in the race, Thomas Preining will also have success ballast on board, an extra 20 kilograms for him. It's 20, 10 and 5 kilograms for the top three in terms of success ballast that I have to carry into the next race. So Tommy Preining's Porsche is going to be, 40 kilograms, it's going to be twice the weight, basically. He had 40 kilograms of BOP ballast yesterday. He's got 60 of BOP plus 20 of success ballast today. So his car's 40 kilograms heavier than it was in the race yesterday. So it's going to be tough for Tommy to repeat yesterday's performance. And the other big thing, or one of the other big things, is that the Ford, lighter by 20 kilograms, but they have also changed the air restrictors. And Ford have not been very happy at all that they've had a 30 or two 35 millimeter air restrictors on it to restrict the air, to restrict the power that comes to the engine. That has now been increased overnight. They've got two 37 millimeter air restrictors, so a lot more power should be able to come through to the Fords, as well as it being lighter. Let's go down to Verena in the pits.
All right, and I'm here with Thomas Biermeier. And Thomas, maybe you can just explain to the viewers, now in the qualifying, there's always a bit of a break. Maybe you can just explain what exactly is being done in that time.
Yeah, nearly everybody is doing the same. So it's doing an out-in procedure to get some temperatures into the car and into the tires to get a heat soak now. So because now temperatures are hot. So this means the warm temperatures are going now into the tires to be ready a little bit earlier. And this is a procedure what everybody is doing, so it's nothing special.
Nothing special, but it's always interesting to find out. And also, I mean, racetrack temperature and everything. We weren't expecting this warmth here in Spielberg, that's for sure. But we're excited that we've got sunshine here. But what does it mean for the tires?
Nothing special, because it's still not very hot. So asphalt temperature is now 20 degrees. So this is normal. This is nothing special. So everybody can enjoy the weather, and for the tires is fine. Absolutely.
All right. Well, Thomas, thank you so much. Best of luck for the qualifying. For the rest of it, back to you.
Excellent. Thanks very much. Yeah, really good to get that explanation from Thomas Biermeier, who Chief Executive of ABT, has now come back to, on a weekend-to-weekend basis, be present and manage the team. Leon Wippersteck has stepped up from race engineer to Mirko Bortolotti last year to Kelvin van der Linde prior to that, and he's overseeing the whole engineering side of things now for the team. So a bit of a reshuffle there. The Lamborghinis have also had some BOP change. They're the same weight, but the base... the boost on the car in terms of the low revs, mainly the low revs at least, has been increased on the Lamborghinis. Also, as I said, more boost on low revs for the BMWs, a boost increase throughout the rev range for the Aston Martins, and that bigger air restrictor to let more air in and more airflow, and therefore more power available to the Fords. So a very different day ahead. A reminder that yesterday Maro Engel's pole position time was 1 minute 27.403, a new qualifying record, 0.2 quicker than Rennie Rast's previous record in the BMW from 2023. Very similar conditions, but cars very different in terms of the power that they've got and the weight, and I think it should provide us with an even closer session than yesterday, if that's possible, Brian, because 19 cars yesterday out of 21 in qualifying were covered by 0.9 of a second.
I mean, it's what we've come to know and love about DTM, really, isn't it? The entire field covered by such a small amount. The heat soak sequence has now been performed. You can see the cars out on track. We were briefly riding there with Mirko Bortolotti and the TGI team by GRT, brand new Lamborghini Temerario, and you can see him out on track there. There's also Luca Engsler out on track as well. We spoke briefly to Mirko Bortolotti last night, and he's very bullish, very determined. They're developing this Temerario very much in the spotlight, which is difficult for for any team or any manufacturer, but that's exactly what they're doing. Really confident of picking up pace as the season goes on, not really expecting to be troubling the front runners in the early stages, I don't think, but certainly you just know they're going to be there or thereabouts, particularly with Abt and Grasser involved as well.
News headlines for Thomas Preining already in the main papers. You saw his mom and dad, Andy and Petra, there, all smiles. Petra was obviously delighted with what happened yesterday. Spoke to her earlier, but she said it's going to be tough today with all the changes. Let's get some team radio now for the 2024
Porsche
champ.
is now behind Max. Keep the position. People still leaving from the box, but everybody's moving.
So also Max Powell out there as well in the almost identical car, and he too very little mention of him yesterday, but just doing a sterling job. Got a 16th place, also a great development driver. You've got Marco Merpelli also driving the Lamborghini as well. So they've got a lot of wisdom and a lot of skill developing those cars, also alongside Mirko Bortolotti and Luca Engsler.
Yeah, you had Mirko Bortolotti's race engineer there, David Grabengieser, his old engineer that he previously worked with when he was at Grasser in the past. He's raced with them many times in other championships over the years, so he's very familiar with the team. And David just saying to Mirko, okay, just hold your position, trying to get the right track position so that we can get you a clear run at qualifying. Drivers saying to me over the last couple of days that here at the Red Bull Ring it takes a little bit longer for the tyres to get up to temperature, so they'll probably do a couple of laps before they really go for it. And then yesterday we were seeing definitely get 2 very good laps out of the tyres. Some drivers would manage to get a third, and on the 4th lap it was then started well, but the tyres would go off. So it'll probably be each driver's second, maybe their third flying laps if they don't make any mistakes, if they don't get stuck in any traffic, where we see the really quick times start to come. But Mirko Bortolotti certainly were much more positive last night than when I spoke to him yesterday morning. He was actually kind of pleasantly surprised that they'd managed to close the gap a bit and finished in 12th. He finished in 12th place. That was with a penalty as well. He had 5 seconds that he lost for a pit stop infringement. Quite a few penalties from pit stops and speeding and spinning wheels on jacks and so forth yesterday, weren't they? So I guess to be expected with lots of new members of teams, all the pressure that comes, and the first day back at doing these performance pit stops after 6 months away.
Yes, definitely an element of first day back at school. Kelvin van der Linde had an awful end to his race yesterday. Was looking very solid in the BMW. Didn't really have, I don't think, had the pace the BMWs. Didn't have the pace that we were expecting, but towards the end of the race, Kelvin van der Linde had that issue, the recurring issue with the oil pressure, which saw him come to a stop out on track. As he's made it very, very clear, he's not here to finish third or second or any other position. He's here to win, so he'll be looking to make amends today. Hopefully the team have got on top of whatever the issue was with that BMW.
Yeah, I think his teammate Marco Wittmann also made it pretty clear that he's not interested in 5th or 4th or 3rd or 2nd either, and definitely not being second within the team, as those two traded paintwork on 1 or 2 laps yesterday, and there was a bit of aggro over the team radio as well. So 2 highly driven, highly competitive racing drivers. Yes, they're in the same team. Yes, you want the team to do well as a whole and fight for teams championships, and you want to be up there with your teammate working together so you can promote each other. But at the end of the day, they're in it for themselves. They want to win the DTM championship by themselves. So yes, teammates, but they're also both going for it. And Marco Wittmann, who knows how to do this, of course, looking to get his 3rd championship title, his last one having come 10 years ago now in 2016. Bastian Buus starting to pull the trigger a little bit, but it won't be quite yet. We get the really quick laps with the last 3 or 4 minutes if it's yesterday anything to go by. But really impressive from him yesterday. And Ben Durr got bullied around a little bit, didn't he, on that first lap, having started second. And he kind of held his own. There wasn't much he could do. He kind of got stranded on the outside line, being second on the grid. Tommy Preining made a really good start, got straight ahead of him into second place from the second row of the grid into turn 1, and then he went side by side for about half a lap with Lucas Auer, but he never gave the position up, Ben Durr, but he was always kind of second favourite on the outside. They had Jules Gounon getting stuck in there as well, and in the end he dropped back a couple of places on that first lap or so, and that was then what dropped him into the pack when he went through turn 1 and just got that little bit ragged through the curbs, and I think because he was maybe a bit slower than expected, that was why, well, at least that's what Bastian, I'm sure, will say, that was why he clipped the back of him and sent him off, but got the penalty in the end.
What do they say about don't talk to the driver? He wants to focus on what's ahead of him. He's got 5 very important minutes ahead of him now to get the car dialed in to find the limitations. A couple of drivers that have exceeded the limitations, make that 3 drivers now. Thierry Vermeulen, also Marco Merpelli and Nicola Bart have all had track limit warnings down at turn 1.
Very good first lap that from Kelvin, 127.582. That's also beneath the previous lap record from 2023. Not quite on the new lap record pace that we saw yesterday from Maro Engel, but that was a 127.4 yesterday, and already pretty close to that for Kelvin. He qualified 11th yesterday with a 127.9, so the track maybe is quicker for sure. Depends what tyres they've got on as well. We know Kelvin was able to start his race yesterday on new tyres if he wanted to, because he wasn't in the top 10. The top 10, you have to start the race on the tyre you set your fastest time on in qualifying. But he looks good. Maro Engel has put in a lap which is second at the moment. He'll have to go better to stay second, 128.073. But Kelvin straight down to it. Finn Wiebelhaus in the points on his debut yesterday has gone into the top 3. So is Jules Gounon. Gounon's the second driver to get into the 127s now, but a 127.997 is still 0.4 of a second away from provisional pole by Kelvin van der Linde. And in between them now goes Bastian Buus in the Porsche, 127.712. He looked like he belonged yesterday, didn't he? Absolutely comfortable in 4th place.
He really did. Looked like a seasoned veteran. Really good performance there. Marco Merpelli has had 4 consecutive laps cancelled now because he's had 3 track limits, and then the next lap cancelled as well because he exceeded track limits at turn 10. So they perceived to gain advantage out of the final corner. So not only the lap he was on, but also the next lap. So 4 laps in a row now cancelled for Marco Merpelli.
Finn Wiebelhaus on a good lap. Lucas Aura's gone 3rd. He's circulating with Marco Wittmann, who's gone 4th. So Marco on the road, just ahead of Lucas Aura. They're just up at turn 3. In fact, Lucas is ahead of him now. Wiebelhaus on a good lap. He's going to improve quite significantly. And Kelvin van der Linde has set the absolute best first sector time with a 21.995. Here comes Finn Wiebelhaus then to round out his lap just into the final corner. He goes at turn 10. They enter that at about 140 kilometres an hour. Get on the throttle. Don't go over the white lines. Where's it going to put Finn Wiebelhaus? Looks a decent lap. This, it goes second quickest.
Wow.
127.660 for the teenager. Kelvin van der Linde, though, how's his lap going? Bastian Buus is going to get to the line first. He's done the absolute best middle sector. He's already 3rd. This could put him onto the front row provisionally. No, not quite. 127.779. Another good lap, but it was half a tenth slower than his previous best. Kelvin van der Linde lost a fraction of time in the middle sector. So the time he made up in sector 1, he's lost and a bit more in sector 2. He's about a tenth down on his previous best lap, but it is another good one as Lucas Aura goes absolute quickest in the middle sector, looking to get pole position here. 128.864 for Kelvin, so not as quick in the end as his previous best, but Luki Aura goes through 127.668. He's missed out on the front row of the grid by 0.008 of a second. Finn Wiebelhaus is still there in second place.
Brilliant stuff. Nobody yet able just to hook up a lap with purples or greens in all 3 sectors. So if somebody can do that, it's really going to set the timing screens alight. At the moment, Kelvin van der Linde, Finn Wiebelhaus, Lucas Aura looking strong. Bastian Buus, personal best in sector 1. Let's see if he can improve on that. Finn Wiebelhaus, personal best in sector 2. But time's starting to run out. 1.25 minutes of this qualifying session left.
On pole yesterday, Maro Engel down the order until he just crossed the line. He was outside the top 14, but he's just put himself into 6th place, a bit better. So 3 Mercedes up there again. Aura in 3rd. Nicky Tim has gone into the top 5 as well. Jules Gounon is 6th. Maro Engel's just been pushed down to 7th with that improvement from the Aston Martin. So it's Kelvin van der Linde from Finn Wiebelhaus by 78,000ths of a second, less than a tenth covering the top 4 with Aura and Gounon in the Mercedes 3rd and 4th. Less than a minute to go in the session. Kelvin van der Linde's found something in the middle sector. That's where he lost his time on the the last run that he did, and his first sector, although it wasn't an absolute or personal best, was very good. He was less than a tenth away, so this is going to be another low or mid 127 for Kelvin van der Linde. Any better? 127.575. Yes, bit better and it improves his own pole position time. Luigi Auer doesn't improve, he stays third. But what a story. If Finn Wiebelhaus in his debut in the Ford Mustang can get onto the front row of the grid, that would be absolutely incredible. But Kelvin van der Linde is there at the moment with an 85,000th of a second advantage. And we're in now to the last 5 seconds of the session. So last chance to improve for everybody out there. There's 1 or 2 green sector times, but they're all a bit lower down the order, aren't they, rather than drivers in the top 6 or 7.
Look at this from Finn Wiebelhaus. I can't see anybody improving enough, I don't think, to unseat him from the front row. So this could be spectacular for Finn Wiebelhaus. This lap is not an improvement, but he's done all the hard work already. He abandons that lap, peels off into the pits. Kelvin van der Linde doesn't look like he's going to be threatened with the 1:27.575 either. His teammate Marco Wittmann's done a personal best in Sector 1, so he's still pressing hard as well. Wittmann currently down in 9th place, so a potential uplift from there.
Yeah, it was a good first sector as well. 22.049, 21.995 is the best. So he's within a tenth. Through the second sector goes Wittmann. 39.1, he's lost 4 tenths through the middle sector. Well, his lap time, his best lap time is less than 4 tenths behind, so he has to have a spectacular final sector to improve his lap time to get any higher up the order than 9th. So I think that's going to be tricky. It might be one of these laps where the tyres just have started to go off in the middle of the lap, even though it started well. I'm not sure it's going to improve, Marco. If he does, it's not going to be by much, no. It's a very similar lap time to the one he had before. He's going to stay just at the tail end of the top 10, whilst his teammate, Kelvin van der Linde, is the man on Sunday morning, pole position for the 2024 Championship runner-up. And it's all very calm. Team radio.
We were waiting for it.
Team radio doesn't come, but Kelvin, here we go.
There it is.
Let's go. Come on, man.
That's
Thank
more
you.
like it.
Thank you very much, guys. Fuck, we've been through a lot these last 3 weeks, but thank you, man. That's pretty well. Thank you, guys. Awesome job.
That's more like it. I spoke to Kelvin yesterday.
So, box, and remember to take the data stick with you, please. Take the data stick.
Delayed transition. He's already back. But he was pretty happy with 11th, given the problems that he's had with his car last week at the test, on Friday, yesterday in the end. He said, we're not that far away. 11th place. After everything, we're on the bin. I feel like I've been on the back foot for the whole week, the whole season so far. He said, so actually, that's good. So he will be ecstatic to be on pole position for the 10th time in his career. The last time Kelvin van der Linde was on pole was that final weekend of the season when he went toe-to-toe with Mirko Bortolotti for the championship title. He was on pole at Hockenheim the last weekend of 2024 for the last time because he didn't race in 2025. Ended up winning, didn't he, on the Saturday. Tremendous drive there. But what a great effort by Kelvin. Quick from the get-go. He got down to those times very quickly, didn't he? And 2 lap times in the 1:27.5. So I think I'm right in saying he got the 2 fastest lap times of the session. He's on pole. Finn Wiebelhaus with a mega 2nd place in his debut weekend. Last year's GT Masters champion. Lucas Auer up there again, 3rd. 4th, Jules Gounon. 5th, Maro Engel. Bastian Boost thereabouts again in 6th place. Nicky Tim 7th. That's a good improvement for Nicky. Ben Durr in 8th. Marco Wittmann in 9th. Tom Callender, who was very impressive yesterday, in 10th. Matteo Cairoli and Thierry Vermeulen in the 2 Ferraris, 11th and 12th. And then Timo Glock 13th. Tommy Preining back in 14th. Now, he didn't have the success weight on the car, but he did have the change of BOP, which has hampered his progress. And Arjun Maini rounding out the top 15. Let's get some reaction now with Verena.
Hello there. So I've got Luigi Auer, and wow, what a great qualifying. Yesterday you were 2nd, today you're 3rd, so it's a good start here at your home race.
Yeah, very good start. Big thanks to my team. Car felt amazing, and let's see what's possible today.
How tough is it going to be in the race? Because I know what your aim is.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I have this performance weight, so it will be tough for me.
Okay, but you're going to give it your all as always, and hopefully we'll see you later on the podium.
Exactly.
All right, thank you, Luigi. Back to you.
Thanks very much indeed. Yes, referring to the fact that for the race, he's got, for having finished 2nd yesterday, 10 kilograms of success ballast to carry on the car. Tommy Preining will have 20, having finished as the winner. And Maro Engel's going to have 5 kilograms as well, having finished in 3rd place. But it's more points scored for Lucas Auer. Another point. That puts him on to 21 points now, 5 points behind Thomas Preining, 2 points for Finn Wiebelhaus for 2nd place. Puts him up as well onto 7 points. So he's tying with Ricardo Feller. But pole position and first championship points of the season to Kelvin van der Linde. Let's go back to Verena.
All right, and look who's back. Kelvin van der Linde was very excited. Good to have you back after a year. What a comeback. Yesterday was not a good day, but today you've got all smiles in your face because a victory here, day 2 in the season opener, is a good one.
I'm so happy to be back, to be honest. Yesterday I had goosebumps already starting from P11, so you can imagine what I'm feeling today from P1. First BMW pole in DTM, first weekend, so I'm very proud of that. We've had to work very hard. It's been a tough preseason, tough race yesterday with the DNF, but my boys did a great job, so honestly they built me a rocket ship today.
You know what, we missed you, so how does it feel to be back in the DTM racing?
I'm very excited, but obviously now it's the high pressure cooker that is DTM, and we've got to work hard and we've got to be consistent to have a chance at the end of the season.
Absolutely, and I mean for the race, starting in P1 is the best position, obviously. How tough will it be?
It's going to be very tough, but yeah, we're from the best view as possible with the great weather here today, great fans, so I'm going to try and enjoy the view to turn 1.
All right, well, see you later. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Thanks, Verena. Another superstar performance from Kelvin van der Linde. Pole position to add to his increasing tally of successes in the DTM. At the start of what is his 5th season in DTM, he came into the championship back in 2021, finished 3rd in the Audi that year, got 4 wins in his first season in the DTM and showed what he could do straight away. A real title contender right down to the wire, of course, at the Norris Ring that year. Got his first win at Monza that first weekend. It's on his birthday as well. And look at him go now. Can he get another win? Well, we had a 1-2 last year on the Saturday rather than the Sunday for BMW with René Rast and Marco Wittmann. Marco with a bit of work to do, but we know how good he is at coming through the field and overtaking. Kelvin will just want to stay where he is at the front of the field to try and get the race victory. So another 55-minute plus 1 lap race coming up this afternoon. And we're going to have 2 mandatory pit stops in that race. Gets underway local time here in Austria at 1:30 in the afternoon, and we'll be on air about 15 minutes before that to give you all of the build-up. So Kelvin van der Linde on pole position for BMW, for Schubert, ahead of today's second round of the championship. From Brian and myself in the commentary box, thanks for listening. Back down to Verena.
And I'm here with a new face in the DTM, Finn Wiebelhaus. Wow, yesterday you were 12th and today you're starting in P2. So I want to see a big smile on your face because, I mean, anything is possible from that position.
Yeah, sure, P2 is a great starting position. Not ideal, I think P1 or P3 is the better one, but I will take P2 for sure. It's a nice place to start. Kelvin did an amazing job securing pole position, but yeah, for sure I wanted to also go on pole, but P2 is very good for me, so I'm quite happy.
All right, we'll see you later on in the race. It's going to be an exciting one, that's for sure. We're looking forward to it here in Spielberg with the sun shining, so don't miss it. See you later. Here are the highlights. Do enjoy. Bye-bye.